Hello, everybody. Welcome to another. I had to.
I believe.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh man! I think somebody said his name. He appeared.
I believe in this podcast. Let's go.
Oh man! So it's July 8th. We only have a couple shows that we're recapping today because it's pay-per-views. So it's going to be a fun day. Don't forget to join WWE on Reddit. Engage in conversation. Thanks, Ascendant, for the Doomsday Machine soundtrack. And with that being said,
if this podcast is anything like The Weekend, we will have a few botches here and there, but overall, it'll be a good show.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know what could happen. I mean, at any moment, you could just. It's like when you say his name. I mean, I don't even know what could happen. You could just say Joe Hendry.
When he appears.
Whoa. Okay, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Just when you think the podcast has ended, just wait. It really hasn't. We just didn't kick out.
Exactly. So, where do we start? I guess we can start with SmackDown. I mean, the pay-per-views are really the main thing. So, SmackDown, pretty standard. I mean, not really. There was a title change. That never happens. The Street Profits defeated Pretty Deadly, who are finally getting some TV play. Bianca and Jade over Candice and Indy. Bailey over Piper Niven. But, yeah, the main thing, DIY defeated A-Town Down Under. And I know we talked about this before. Like, great for them. I'm a huge DIY mark. I have been since Black and Gold. But I think, Mike, I think you said it, like, where does DIY go from here? I mean,
unfortunately.
What do they do? I mean, who they feud with?
We look at the SmackDown tag team roster, and for heel teams, we have Legado del Fantasma, and there was one other one that I remembered the other day, but I can't think of it right now. But outside of that, we can't. Because A-Town Down Under looks like that's going to be a breakup, probably a Theory versus Waller match at SummerSlam. So it's just, unless we're going to have a triple threat tag team tournament to determine the number one contenders, and we have two face teams square off, I just don't see a long-term feud here with them holding the belts.
It's going to be Street Profits or Pretty Deadly. That's all we're going to have.
Yeah.
One or the other.
I mean, Pretty Deadly, I could see it. I mean, it'd be cool to get them some action in there somewhere. Street Profits, though, I mean, they haven't had Tag Gold in a while, and I like them with Tag Gold. I like them anytime they're on TV. I'll take more of them any day.
I wasn't really feeling Pretty Deadly until I was actually there live at Madison Square Garden and saw them against a New Day. I really, respected their in-ring work after that. But then it was funny. After SmackDown, we were walking to get pizza, and on our way back, we ran into Xavier Woods and Pretty Deadly on the side, just standing on the side of the sidewalk in New York. It was freaking great.
Yeah, it was wild.
They were really nice, and it was funny as hell because I walk up and I they were talking, and I didn't want to be a jerk and interrupt them. So I walk up, and Xavier looks at me, goes, "I don't want to be an asshole or anything," because I wanted to take a picture, and he looks at me, goes, "Well, then don't be an asshole." I was like, "Oh shit, my bad." I just want a picture. He's like, "All right, cool."
That's awesome.
But yeah, they were pretty cool.
Deadly.
I like them now.
Yeah, Pretty Deadly won me over this winter. I wasn't the biggest fan of them before them, but I love them now. Especially, I thought they were going to get a real push after they pinned Randy Orton back at SmackDown in Connecticut. I believe it was 2 weeks before WrestleMania this year. And then the other tag team I was thinking of also for a heel team is the Good Brothers. I believe they are still a part of the SmackDown roster, even though they're more in NXT. So that's another team that DIY could feud with.
I would actually like to see that.
Yeah.
And that would actually be pretty cool if, they brought Candice LeRae into the mix with DIY. Then you have the OC with Meechin, and Meechin could feud with her on the side. They could have like a team feud there. That would actually be pretty cool, but we'll see.
I know. I mean, I'm trying to think of some teams they worked with. Revival, not really around anymore.
A lot of spots from that
AOP.
takeover match on Friday.
They had a AOP.
Yeah, they're on Raw, unfortunately.
I would say they're on Raw, but then we saw freaking DIY, who's on Raw, come over and win the SmackDown titles.
Well, they got drafted over there, I believe.
I thought they were Raw.
Yeah, because they were the Raw Tag Team Champions.
Let's see.
I thought they got drafted back in the draft.
I don't remember, but I'm looking it up right now. Let's find out. DIY was round 6, and that was night 2, round 6, DIY to SmackDown. So I guess they were SmackDown.
But they had the tag titles, I thought. They lost.
They lost to Awesome Truth right before the draft, if I remember correctly.
That was right before the draft. I thought it was right after. Okay. That makes sense.
When they teased a breakup there, when Ciampa would not shake the Miz's hand, I believe it was, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, over on SmackDown, Angel and what's his name? They're on there. They're
other than Gato del Fantasma and the Good Brothers, I just don't see any heel teams over there unless they're going to form another team. Like, I mean, Bloodline too, but
A-Town down. Oh man, yeah, they could feud with Tonga and Loa.
Trick Williams is no longer the champion in NXT. He could come over to SmackDown and reconcile with Carmelo.
Trick would have to be a heel, though, sort of, because Carmelo's playing definitely more of a heel role now, I think.
If they reconciled, then I think he would be looked at as a heel.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I was about to say Randy Orton and KO, but they're face. I mean, A-Town down, I guess. Feud with them again.
They really can't afford to break them up right now.
Yeah.
Now that they lost titles.
I don't see how what Randy and KO are doing at SummerSlam either. So I wouldn't be surprised if this Friday we have a heel turn from Randy towards KO possibly.
I mean, yes. Spoiler. That's what I was hoping for to end Money in the Bank. I'm surprised. That would have been a great opportunity for it. I'm surprised it didn't happen. Just Randy's pissed off and just RKOs everyone and walks out. Like,
or you have Randy and KO both attack Cody for losing that match.
Ooh.
And then they come the heel tag team to feud with DIY.
Because KO is one of those. It's a better heel. So.
And Randy too. Both of them are better heels.
Yeah, they're much better. There's some people that just, it's cool to see them turn face every now and then, but like some people are just natural bad guys, and like KO was one of the best. I mean, he just filled that role so well. So
Unhinged KO is my favorite. I still love him when he starts going nuts.
When he was with the Elias thing, I think that's my favorite thing that he's ever done. He's like, he's not real. It's you. And he's like, everybody's like, what are you talking about? It was,
I know it's you.
Just a shame we never got Elrod. I mean, the whole family didn't get in. So, well, I guess since we did main roster show, let's actually do the weekend out of order because we can actually segue into Money in the Bank. NXT was better and probably much more to talk about there. So, I mean, we'll just do Money in the Bank next and we'll go match by match. Drew McIntyre won Money in the Bank. Did anyone expect anything different?
Doink the Clown.
Doink the Clown.
I mean, I think we all said the same thing, Jay or Drew. So, I mean, it was inevitable, I guess, that was what was going to happen. Yeah. I mentioned this. I mean, most predictable pay-per-view I think I've seen in we can do that later, but yeah, okay. Anyways, IC title, Sammy and Braun. Sammy won.
Yeah, that to me, I thought they were going to have Braun win because we all know they're going to try to push him going into the Netflix. But I didn't know if they were going to start pushing him this early, and obviously not because Sammy won. Which I think them pushing over Sammy as the underdog and him surprising people is a good turn, good angle for him.
It seems like my guess is they're just going to wait until the Bloodline thing happens and they bring Sammy into the Bloodline feud, and that's when he drops it. I mean, I can't think of anyone else he'd drop it to. I mean, there's no other stakes anywhere else.
No. Well, with SummerSlam coming up, I think we might get a fatal four-way, a triple threat with Sheamus involved, and depending on how Kaiser's ribs are, if he's back to healthy in time for SummerSlam, we could have a triple threat or a fatal four-way where Braun doesn't even have to pin Sammy. Personally, I think that could be a.
I have to go back. Actually, I was not over on the comment side, so
on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up on some of these. Let's see. Enjoying the Dragunov.
My friend Torrin Ilya is a good pick for an IC run.
Chad as well.
Yep, Chad, Ilya. They at least as opposed to the SmackDown tag titles, we have a lot of options with this IC championship run.
Yeah,
who's gonna pick Sammy, and I think Sammy, with a lot of these guys like Chad or Ilya, I think showing them beating, him beating these guys will cement him as like a mainstay and a decent champion, and it'll actually give Sammy that respect he's been looking for years.
And I think it's got to be Chad, though. I mean, he's made it clear like that's the belt he wants. He's not talking about anything else. People will rarely feud for or aspire to mid-card titles. Like LA Knight really wants the US title. Chad Gable really wants the IC title. So, I mean, I think those are the people that should be up on next. But, again, like this one, like Dragunov, great for the IC title. I mean, yeah.
If Kazu's not healthy, I think he will be in that match. But with Chad Gable, the Wyatt's coming after him, and I think we're going to have an 8-man tag match at SummerSlam between the male members of the Wyatts, and then Otis will join the Creeds and Gable to form their 4-man team to get that 8-man tag match. Because I think
can you imagine heel Otis?
I don't know if it'll even be heel though, because Chad's been very different. He wasn't at the kickoff show for Money in the Bank this week, but overall he's had a much more different tone since being attacked.
Yeah,
I've noticed.
But when on the flip side, when he ran into the Creed brothers last Monday, he kind of showed a little bit of that jackass again when they were like, how are you doing? He was like, the big man just takes a little talking to and he'll come around. He had that. He showed a little bit more of that heel again. So I don't know which way they're teetering on that freaking ladder.
I saw after last night, somebody was talking to go to the NXT thing with Chase U not winning, and they were like, "Well, what's next for Chase U?" And somebody on the chat thread said they should come over to the main roster and unite with Judgment Day and form Judgment University. But I was thinking, I mean, Chase U would be. I mean, I don't really know what else you can do with them, but since we're on the subject of Alpha Academy, I mean, that'd be a great merger. I think like some of those could work really well together.
I think Rich Holland will be involved somehow with that. I think he'll probably turn on them eventually.
So, I mean, the main thing we wanted to chat about, I guess, is okay. So, Damian Priest defeated Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre in a triple threat match.
Supposedly.
Recap: Damian
supposedly
and Seth were the match. Drew cashed in. CM Punk interfered. So, supposedly, what do we think?
Not Damian's fault.
Yeah,
I'm going to say that right now because they are saying that because right after that, literally seconds later, Drew came out. They're saying that Damian didn't kick out because production didn't play the music on time. They played it late. They were supposed to play it before the 3 count for Damian to come out and interrupt that.
Yeah.
So I actually, not putting that on Damian right there, like a lot of people are. So
I think this is going to be one of those situations where, and they've been doing this a lot more recently, is like anytime there's something that's in question, they try to reconcile it and move forward. So I think Priest and Seth will probably get a rematch. I'm pretty sure. Drew, for those who may not have been aware, Adam Pearce has put out stuff that he's fined CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was suspended, and then Drew McIntyre tweeted at Pearce again today, and then Pearce said, "You know what? I just doubled your suspension." So
enjoy the time off. I'm the fact that freaking Drew called him a bald bitch.
Yeah, that was something.
I wasn't a fan of Drew for the longest time, but with this new turn for him, this angle, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I think everybody called that was going to happen, that Drew was going to win, cash in that night, and CM Punk was going to cost it. I mean, anybody saw that coming a mile away. But that sucks for the Money in the Bank briefcase. I mean, it was just a prop. Like, that whole match was just pointless. I mean, it didn't do anything. It didn't further any storylines or anything.
But
it did further the CM Punk and Drew storyline.
Yeah.
They're still mad at each other.
Now it brings in Rollins now too.
Yeah.
But the thing I'm wondering about, and Torn brought it up in chat, is we saw Damian or Seth lose the match. He can't, unless there's some weird stipulation that they come out with. Drew or Rollins will not go for that title as long as Damian has it now. So having a rematch, I don't know how they're going to play that one off.
I think they could say technically, and who knows if they'll do this, but I mean, the way I'd play it, they could say technically in their match, it was a one-on-one match with that stipulation. That match did not end. A new match started, which was a triple threat match. So that rule may not apply to that triple threat match. And that Seth may come back and say, I didn't lose that one-on-one match. It just didn't finish. So we'll have to finish it later. I mean, that's how I'd do it.
I don't think they're gonna have a rematch. I just think it'll be Gunther and Damian Priest at SummerSlam, and Seth will have to wait a month because Damian Priest ain't keeping that title after SummerSlam, in my opinion.
Lord no, adding
I'm
taking his belt.
And I'm kind of glad they got the Money in the Bank cash in done, because I don't see any current story going on that the Money in the Bank briefcase would actually come into play.
Yeah.
Or why it's needed. It's really not needed like it used to, like it was last year or the year before. I mean, or in the past. So
I kind of wanted for something different. I wanted to see LA Knight win it and cash in on the US Championship just for something different. That would have been cool.
He can still win at SummerSlam, though, because he just pinned Logan Paul. But the only thing that I think he'll win it, but the one thing is that is Logan Paul's hometown. But as Triple H has shown, he has no problem not having guys win in their hometown.
Yep. I mean, Sean Spears last night,
Yeah,
but Ethan Page is from
has
there,
taken over. Nobody's won in their hometown.
No, that's Shawn Michaels, actually. But the Unholy Union did, too. They won in their hometown.
Yeah. But Drew keeps losing at Clash. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, it's one of those
Piper
things.
Niven lose. You had Drew lose. You had in Toronto, you had Chelsea Green lose. You had Sean Spears lose.
Yeah, but I said, Ethan Page is from there too, so it's still he gave it to the hometown guy.
I mean, I like Ethan Page, but I didn't know he was Canadian. So all right,
how about that?
That's why he was wearing all the USA I'm a United States resident gear last night.
Yeah,
get more heel heat.
Can we backtrack? This was so awkward, and I don't know why this is a thing. Some people have said this happens in hockey, and I don't know. I don't think I've seen that many games up there, but playing the U.S. anthem before an event in Canada just felt weird.
A lot of people were talking trash about that.
That just felt weird.
Usually when they do it in hockey, they only do it when a United States team is playing a Canadian team, and they do both anthems no matter where they're playing the United States and Canada. So my guess is the logic behind is seeing they're a United States-based company, even though they're World Wrestling Entertainment, they wanted to do it that way. I can see why they did it, but I agree it wasn't necessary, to say the least.
Yeah.
Sounded good, though. She's a hell of a singer, but it felt weird.
They should have done it backwards. They should have done the Canadian anthem first because they were in Canada.
Okay. And then another thing from the beginning, they said that Jacob Fatu was apparently dangerous, and that's why he had trouble getting into the country. Like, come on.
Yep. And that Paul and Triple H had to freaking pull the strings to get him in the country.
Oh, they definitely did. I believe that.
Oh, 100%. I love Jay too, because he has a couple DUIs, and with DUIs you can't get into Canada. The fact that he played heavily on I'm just glad to be in Canada.
Yeah.
Glad that I made it over the border.
That was super surprising.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, like they were just like, whatever, it's cool. Well, maybe they said we'll come back to Canada more because when WWE comes in, like money comes in. So that was probably to play there. So, anyways, back at it again. Tiffany Stratton, Money in the Bank winner.
No shock.
No, anyone surprised out there? I mean,
I thought it was going to be Tiffy or Chelsea. I liked the final spot.
That table spot. God,
there were some botches at the beginning of the match, and I was waiting for the boring chance to start.
Mm-hmm.
But holy shit, that match turned into, as Sheamus would call it, a banger.
Yeah.
That match was phenomenal.
It's just interesting because, back in the day, those matches where you'd have like Sasha and, a lot of those are previous women in like big matches like that, they were full of botches. But like you got all these people in here now, like way less botches. It was a much better match than a lot of the matches like this we saw 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
In the beginning of this match, too, when they had that spot with Chelsea with her jumping up and down trying to knock down the briefcase, I thought that was absolutely pathetic. That was booking malpractice, in my opinion, because she is so talented. You try to make her the female R-Truth. It's just it's disgusting. I think she's totally misused. They got to kill the gimmick, and once they kill the gimmick and actually use her correctly, she can be a world champion.
Oh yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt at all. It's a shame. I mean, I saw somewhere on one of the chat threads, somebody said that kind of with her current gimmick now, can you think of all the funny failed cash-in attempts she would have had? I mean, they could have done something with it. I'm just surprised that they didn't do it. Like, I don't know. People keep talking about how over Tiffany is, but I mean, I don't know. I see Chelsea as more over myself, but
yep. If you want someone that's all around, Tiffy's good in the ring. Don't get me wrong. She's still green in some spots. Chelsea overall on the mic and everything, because if you watch the post-show press conference, Tiffy is so green on the mic. Like I don't get how she answered so many questions with, I'm just focused on making the Money in the Bank briefcase pink and bedazzle it.
I know.
That was the answer to so many questions. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Quick question. Do we think we got Trish Stratus and Tiffany at SummerSlam?
Oh, that would be great.
After that little interaction.
Yep, somebody asked that question in the post-show press conference, and she mentioned that she would be ready for it.
Interesting. Yeah, who do we think she cashes in on? Which side?
Bailey. I think Bailey and Nia are gonna. Well, if I could talk straight and get my head together, Nia's gonna win at SummerSlam. Then she's gonna cash in right there.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree 100%.
You think she'll lose?
Oh no, she'll win it, and it'll lead to her and Nia Jax of Bad Blood.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
know I'm considering going to that one, so
how far are you from Atlanta?
About 7-8 hours.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's I could leave in the morning and be there for that, and drive back afterward overnight and be done. Easy trip for me. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking about it. Mainly because I think there's potential for a Drew and a CM Punk Hell in a Cell match, and I think Bad Blood would be perfect for that.
Yeah, a lot of rumblings about that.
Yep.
One thing with Tiffany too is I think after she wins the championship, she'll hold the belt until WrestleMania, and I think we could get a Charlotte Flair Tiffany Stratton match at WrestleMania also.
I'd be down for that.
Waiting
for people talk about that.
Yeah, waiting for Charlotte to come back.
I know. Like, what is only going on? I mean, like, yeah, Charlotte. Yeah, I never thought I'd say I kind of miss Charlotte. I haven't seen her in a while. Now it's like, why not bring her back? I mean, most of the Bailey is really the only original. I mean, Naomi, but not many of the originals still kicking around. So I wouldn't mind it.
The women's 4 horsemen from NXT. Who was that? Sasha,
Bailey,
Becky,
Naomi, and Becky. I think.
Was it Naomi or was it?
I thought it was Becky and Charlotte.
Yeah,
Charlotte, Becky, Bailey.
Charlotte, Becky, Bailey, and
Sasha.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
So we only have Bailey right now.
Yeah.
Where does Naomi go from here too? Because she's been looking weird at Bailey, but Nia Jax has that match at SummerSlam. So is she going to turn on her before SummerSlam? Maybe that's why I said in the chat maybe she could even win the briefcase after that spot on Friday.
They need to bring Nia and Naomi into the bloodline.
Yep, just thinking that. Yep. Get Naomi over to Raw somehow, and she's with the Uso Roman side, and then Nia with the heel side over on SmackDown. Perfect.
because they're at the point right now with the bloodline story that they were with the Wyatt Six. Shit or get off the pot. Do something with it. It's starting to get stale. We have not, and my friend Torrin Marksman from the chat was telling me the other day, he was like, or yesterday, he said that they're not doing anything. No one's even acknowledged the fact that Solo and them put Paul Heyman through a table.
Yeah.
Jay hasn't come out and said anything. CM Punk hasn't said anything. It's like, why did they do it then if they're not going to, cash in on that point? And that was a big point in the story, and nothing's come from it.
Or it could be like kind of a silent send-off and he comes back with Roman.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that. One thing too is I think they might make Tonga Loa the new wise man, because we saw his attempt at a low blow, and I've seen that video before that you put in the chat.
Okay.
I saw that a few months ago. So his wrestling skills ain't the best. So making him the wise man is not a bad move.
the low blow or the goot shot, and then he punched his brother in the head.
It was,
the goot punch, and then he punched his brother in the head. I'm like, come on. I mean, the punch to Tama Tonga's head wasn't all his fault, because the way that Sammy had him held up, there was nowhere for his fist to go other than punch him in the head.
For the audio listeners, of course, to end the show, the Bloodline defeated Cody, Randy, and Kevin. How good did Jacob Fatu look in that match, though?
Oh, God.
So intense.
When Randy flipped over to get ready to do the RKO, and Jacob was standing up, and he was just like, fuck my life. I was dying.
He didn't even showcase everything he can do, because they don't want him to outshine Solo. Wait till we get, say, a Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu, or Cody versus Jacob Fatu, what we're going to get. This is just even a little preview.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man, it's going to be good. And so the match did deliver, though. It was a good match. Like, it wasn't as screwy as I thought it was going to be. Like, it was okay. It was pretty good. Some pretty rough spots, though. Some of those guys took some hits.
Yeah, they did. Friggin' Tonga Loa's head. They're saying he's actually injured now because of that. When he hit the table, head onto the announce table.
Yeah, I was looking after that. I was like, dang, dude, that is a rough hit. Like, that was a rough hit.
Yeah. Yeah, other than the ending, it was a good match, and I agree with you, Torrin. It kind of fell flat. It could have been a little bit better, but it's like the rest of this current bloodline story. It's falling flat.
Yeah,
they're just in a holding pattern, though, for Roman. They're just keeping it chugging along at a slow pace till they get his return at SummerSlam. It'll pick up. It's because this storyline, I don't think it's going to go anywhere for years. We've had it for years, and it's their main money maker.
I don't know if with the way Money in the Bank ended and the way Money in the Bank as a whole was, because it was not their best PLE this year or since WrestleMania. So I mean, I wonder if it's forced their hand to bring Roman back sooner than SummerSlam to try to get fans back on track.
I mean, those "We Want Roman" chants are getting loud.
Yep.
I couldn't see them bringing him back earlier, because with long-term booking, I've noticed even though you have a 3-week period in between PLEs, the go-home show gets neglected a lot. So if they're willing to do that just over a 3-week pattern, I can't see them jumping the gun on that in a stadium with less people, affecting the storyline, and to get less pop, just to get people's attention. I feel they're willing to lose people's attention for a few weeks to get that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right. Yeah, it's, like we said with the Wyatt Six, I mean, I fully agree. It's do something. Like,
I'm surprised we didn't see the Wyatt Six during the Money in the Bank match.
I thought they were going to show up and cost Chad like his opportunity, or pull him under the ring, or like anything. Would have been a good opportunity. But they've been teasing a lot of stuff. They have a Twitter account. I don't know if you guys follow it or not, but they've been posting a lot of crazy stuff on Twitter. So some people are thinking, because they're posting pictures of like the individual members, that they'll start doing kind of what they did with Bo Dallas on Raw, but having Uncle Howdy interviewing the other members of the Wyatt Six and asking them, how they felt to be neglected and all that stuff, because they posted a shot of like Rowan. So, I mean, it would be an interesting way to go through with it, but I don't want to see that for, 6 more weeks. Like
I was just about to say that, because they did like that would be 5 more weeks of that plus the 2 weeks of Bo Dallas. I mean, that would get a little frustrating.
I think they'll drag it out. It just goes in hand with the long-term booking thing. You're gonna the long-term booking, and you're just gonna have to wait sometimes. And another thing that I'm starting to not like about this long-term booking thing is, why do we only have to have the big title changes happen at SummerSlam and WrestleMania? Because it seems to be that pattern. And then it's just the other thing too. Why can't we spread out these big returns and everything, like with Roman and everybody else? Why do we have to wait for these big events? Spread it out throughout the year a little bit more. I'd like to see that.
Well, they kind of did for me with this Bloodline. I think they did it all to. At the time, I was happy they didn't do it all in one night and they spread it out over a few weeks. But bringing in Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu, they kind of did spread that out a little bit, but now everyone knows we're gonna see Hikuleo, we're gonna see, he's gonna be Tala Tonga, and then Zilla. So now, are we gonna see them spread out going into SummerSlam and then have Roman come back, or are they gonna come back after Roman? Or with Roman,
it's NWO at this point. There's so many, and a way to keep it fresh would be not every person they bring in needs to be in the Bloodline. Yeah, like you don't
agree.
Like, do something different. You don't have to have everybody in the freaking Bloodline. So otherwise, they're going to start diluting this thing so bad. It's going to be NWO, and it's just going to be a cluster F.
One thing too is, I don't know why this match was the main event, because originally I heard the World Heavyweight Championship match was. Nothing in this match happened that was main event worthy other than the match itself. You had a big moment for a cash in. That World Heavyweight Championship match should have been the main event. There was no reason for the 6-man tag match to be the main event.
Yeah, I assumed there was going to be some crazy debut or something, and that's why they did it. And they didn't do that.
Yep.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. I'm like, okay, the Bloodline's the main event. We're going to see somebody's coming back. Something good's going to happen. And then it ended, and I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, overall, not the strongest pay-per-view. I think if it didn't have NXT stacked up against it, it probably would have been better. But like I've said, and a lot of other people online have said as well, it's just so predictable. Every one of these matches you could see from a mile away. And that's so weird because it's not Triple H's booking usually.
Yeah, the only one that could have went either way was the Intercontinental match. That one could have went either way, but even then you were like, okay, they're booking Sammy as the underdog. That's it. We're going to lean that way, but.
And to give some credit to that IC match, it was a great match. Braun Breaker is not just another generic big guy. Like, it was a good match. Sammy said after that interview, he's like, I am as well. Like, both dudes put in work, and that was a really good match. So
yeah, he was like, Braun underestimated me, but he came out and said, you know what? I underestimated him.
Yeah. So we're moving past the squashes, and people are starting to see his technical ability, which is exciting. So that's good news for his future.
His Frankensteiner was even better than his freaking uncle's.
Oh, it is by a lot. Yeah,
I was freaking like, holy crap! That was the first time I ever really paid attention to it.
Oh. So moving on from that, let's talk about the pay-per-view of the weekend, premium live event, whatever. In the press conference, Triple H said pay-per-view, so I don't feel so bad saying it now. But Heatwave on Sunday.
7-hour pay-per-view.
Don't read into it now.
Yeah, but to
start this off, yes. Money in the Bank had a 2-hour pre-show with 0 matches. Heatwave had a 1-hour pre-show. And had a match on the countdown show. Carmen Petrovic and Ariana Grace defeated JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. And that ended with them setting up Carmen Petrovic versus Ariana Grace. But how awesome is Ariana Grace? Like, so much potential. I love her. She's one of my favorite NXT women.
I want to see her dad come over from TNA.
I know he's in TNA. Why not? Yeah. Make it happen. Yeah.
We'll get it eventually, I'm sure.
Probably.
But a pretty decent match to start the night. I wish Carmen would separate herself from this Kill Bill gimmick she has going. Like, it's too much of a direct clone that it's not a subtle nod. It's like a direct, like, hey, this is what this is. So, but Yeah, not a bad match. Good match start. But I mean, the real match that started the show probably highlighted in my opinion, probably the match of the weekend. Obafemi retained his North American title against Wes Lee.
That was a really good match.
I mean,
for me, not the match of the weekend, but it's up there, probably number 2.
One thing I was thinking after this match is 2 matches I want to see going forward. I want to see Wesley versus Javon Evans, and way down the road, I want to see Obafemi versus Gunther. Those are 2 matches that I really want to see after watching this match.
How are we going to lead into Obafemi versus Moose before him and Gunther?
Yeah. I mean,
that's the kicker right there. Oh, Moose even teased it on Twitter. So,
I mean, I think a lot of the crossover that we see now is mostly like people are super amped up on this Joe Hendry guy, and I think it's going to be a minute before we get Moose over.
I want to see Ethan Page and Joe Hendry.
That could be the next match because they said, the face of NXT, and then that's right when he came on. So they might even just be making him not full-time because he already has a match at Slammiversary for the TNA title. But
I think that's when we'll see Ethan Page show up at NXT to lead into that.
Yeah. That's only 12 days away.
And then they could lead that to the main event at Bash or Great American Bash.
Which, for those that didn't watch, Great American Bash was announced. It's an NXT televised event, not a premium live event. Weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's up there, but that's going on. So, that match was just really good. I mean, usually anytime you get a big guy against a little guy, like it's usually not that athletic, but man, they both like put in work. Yeah. And Obafemi is just so freaking talented. Like for a big dude, he is so talented. Incredibly impressive with what he does.
I thought personally they were going to take the belt off of him last night because they need to. I think they're going to put him up to the NXT title race away from the North American Championship, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to give it to Wes Lee, seeing it was his last shot, because that way you can start getting him into that title picture up there.
I think they have booking because they were talking that they're looking at using not only Joe Hendry for a lot of bigger roles in NXT going forward for the crossover, but they're also looking at signing him once his contract with TNA ends. So I kind of figured they would leave the title or the North American on Obafemi because of Joe Hendry.
When's his contract up?
That I don't know, but they were talking about it online yesterday.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody look that up.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, let's find out what the what's going on with that one. The joys of in the moment. We will find all the facts. And let's see.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. I know they're saying he signed a long-term deal last year.
So there's probably a few more years on that one, I bet then.
But with the partnership, they might be able to work out a deal with TNA where they buy out his contract to sign him to NXT and allow TNA to still use him on occasion.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So coming up next was the women's North American match, Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruca. I have thoughts, but you guys go ahead.
I cried a little. I love Sol Ruca. She's like really good. I didn't see them keeping the title on Kalani. That surprised the hell out of me. The match was halfway decent, though. I was happy with that. They had a few spots that mimicked Will Ospreay and Ricochet. So they pulled a page from that book, but we'll see where they take Sol Ruca from here. I wonder if they're going to push her into the women's championship picture.
Someone said in the chat the other day, both of them apparently have gymnastics backgrounds. I didn't know that, but good Lord. I mean, so flippy. so flippy, so many flips.
Yep.
It almost felt forced at one point. But that being said, it was a really good match.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like I want to poke fun at it and complain, but it was still one of the better matches on the card. Like, Kalani definitely proved herself. And, you know, Jada Parker was my pick to begin with, and I was surprised that Kalani was a champion. But, I mean, I can't say anything anymore. Like, she definitely proved herself. Like, that was a tremendous match.
She gained some of my respect in that match. Because, like I said before, it's like I didn't think she was ready to be champion. I didn't think.
Yeah.
I thought they just threw it on her to see how the crowd reacted because she wasn't ready. But after last night, I give her a little bit more of my respect. She like held her own in that match, which made it really good.
Yep.
I just thought personally it was too soon to take the title off her. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a rematch here down the road and a possible heel turn from Sol Ruca.
Yeah, that's what I forgot. Yeah, I know. I messaged you and said the same thing. Like at the end of the match when they were like shaking hands, I thought there was going to be a heel turn. I fully expected Sol Ruca to just deck her at that point because they lingered on it for a minute. Like I don't know, it felt like a tease to me.
I was expecting that too when like Sol held her hand up and was congratulating her. I was like, oh, she's about to attack her. Let's go.
Yeah. Like
nope.
The Dark Surfer. I mean, that would have been cool. Like, I don't know. I'm here for it. I think that would have been a pretty cool thing.
Mommy Ruca, let's go. Goth Mommy Ruca, we need it.
Goth Surfer. I don't know. I don't know if the world's ready for that one yet. But
I am.
So yeah, pretty decent match. Tag team champions Axiom and Heath Slater defeated Chase U. I mean, Axiom and Nathan Frazier defeated Chase U.
Talk about teasing a breakup of a tag team. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like literally, like Axiom, they attacked each other for a minute.
Oh yeah, towards the end of the match. Yeah. Because I mean, honestly, who else? I mean, who are they gonna drop the titles to at this point? They've beaten like everybody. I mean, I can't think of anyone they haven't beaten yet. So I don't know. I thought this was a good opportunity for Chase U to win it, so I was very surprised that they didn't win. Like that was surprising to me.
Yeah, that was to me too. I thought Chase U was a shoe-in to win. So and it was a really good match, back and forth.
Thea Hale was so freaking animated that match, though.
Yeah, she was.
She's always animated.
Like, she goes ridiculously nuts. Her and freaking KO with being unhinged are hilarious. Yeah.
She was definitely into it. So yeah, I don't know where they go from here. Like I don't know who detitles them.
Yeah,
there's plenty of teams they can. There's plenty of teams that they can go against, but I just don't know of any teams that are worthy to take them off of them personally myself, because they got a strong tag division down there. But who are they going to go up against next? Gallus?
It'll be Gallus. I just
New Catch Republic.
About it. No, until you said that, I did not think about it.
I really hope it's not.
As high as they are on Gallus, that's who it's going to be. I did not think about that.
Yeah. The channel moving tag team.
I can't remember if it was after this match or where it was on the card, but how'd you guys like seeing Tony D in his garden?
I didn't.
You ever tried to eat a leaf of basil before? It don't taste too good.
It's not good.
Yeah,
even when it's on like a margarita pizza, I usually don't eat it, or I'll just like it off. My garden, my basil.
Like what? Why, bruh?
You probably spit that out so quick.
And one of the comments threads was like, I don't remember where it was, but they were like, Tony D likes above ground or raised bed gardening, and I was like, I guess that's the takeaway from this. Sure, why not? But he called it the Italian Heritage Cup. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's going to set up something on Tuesday. So
him versus Lexus King.
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting match. Lexus King, that little promo video with him was pretty fun, talking about all his rock bands and whatnot. Like, okay, I see you, Lexus King. I'm here for this. They got to do something with him, right? I mean, I don't really know where he goes.
Heritage Cup though.
No, God, no. That ain't going to happen.
Find someone else with blonde hair, bring in Stone Cold to be their manager, and we have the new Hollywood Blonde. Let's go.
Heath Slater for Nathan Frazier.
Mini Heath Slater.
Yeah. So there you go. So after that, Roxanne Perez kept her title against Lola Vice. Also surprising.
Kind of surprised me. I thought it was ready for them to give it to someone else.
Yeah, I thought that was Lola's night, especially because they've been talking about like her mom in the hospital and all this stuff. I was like, yeah, okay, they got the sympathy thing going, so surely it's going to happen. It was a good match. Another thing I took away from that, I did not know how short Roxanne Perez was. I saw her standing next to the ropes, and I was like, is this an angle or what? And I looked it up online, and yeah, sure enough, she's 5'1". She's a little thing.
She wasn't standing next to the ropes, plural. She was standing next to the bottom rope.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, I noticed that too last night. I didn't realize she was that short. And when she was coming out, I looked at my friend. I was like, damn, she's short as shit.
Yeah, she a little thing. Like, that girl's small.
But it's
the tiny ones the tiny ones are scary. Like, my wife is like that short, and I don't mess with her. So it's always the short ones you got to watch out for.
Yeah.
I personally don't.
Where do you think they go from here?
I don't think they're gonna take that title off her until she gets called up to the main roster. I don't think. As I've said the past few weeks, I think we're eventually gonna get Roxanne versus Ava match, especially with the way they're teasing Mr. Stone and Stevie Turner in the management roles. I think she's gonna go back to possibly full time in ring, not too far down the road. But I don't think they'll take that belt off of her until she gets called up, just like they did with Dragunov and Valkyria earlier this year.
Yeah.
I hope to God that we have that Natalia's working with Ava, because Ava needs to hone her skills, and I hope over this whole time that she's been a GM, she's gotten that in ring down a little bit, because she's good on the mic, she's gotten better there. And that's all we need now is her getting that in ring ability, and I think Roxanne's going to end up dropping it, because I saw that feud starting over the last couple weeks.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I had high hopes for Ava. I mean, multi-generational talent. I mean, you always want them to do well, but it definitely is going to need some practice.
Yeah.
When
she came out with Schism, I was like very optimistic about it. I was like, okay, The Rock's daughter, she probably had the best training and the best everything, but nothing ever really solidified there.
So on to the main event.
Lola,
go ahead. Yeah.
Then I was going to say with Lola, I could see them going to North American Women's title and her facing Kalani and taking it off her down the road.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be a good option for that title. I didn't think about that.
Move Sol Ruka up into the championship picture, and then Lola Vice down.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if they were teasing that Sol Ruka heel turn last night, because you could feel that energy,
you felt it.
Have her do that full heel turn and attack Roxanne Perez instead of Kalani Jordan, and go that route.
Okay, I'm here for it. Yep, that works for me. So main event, probably the one match this weekend that surprised me that I did not see coming. Ethan Page defeated Trick Williams, Sean Spears, and Javon Evans to win the NXT Championship. So let's start with this. Let's start with Javon Evans. How impressive was he in that match?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
20-year-old kid. I didn't think it was like literally. We've seen Montez Ford jump over the top turnbuckle to the outside. Javon Evans was a little bit higher, a little bit further than Montez gets, and that's impressive. He blew me away last night. I was expecting him to be one that gets knocked out at the beginning. He lays on the outside for half the match, but holy shit.
I know you say that. Yeah, Ethan Page was the one most of the match. I was like, where the hell is Ethan Page?
Javon Evans, when he took that bump off the announce table into his hip, and then like literally, I'm like, yep, he's done for the match. That's it. Dude's dead. And then he got up and put Trick Williams' foot on the ropes. I was like, damn. I was like, that kid's resilient.
See, I thought there was no rope breaks in a fatal 4-way. That's what sort of confused me.
Oh, rope breaks there are. It's just there's no disqualifications.
No disqualification, yeah.
Okay.
And there's no rope breaks in terms of submission.
Okay, yeah. I gotcha.
But yeah, starting out that match, man, I wanted Shawn Spears to win, but midway through, after watching Javon Evans' performance, I was like, okay, let this kid have it. He's good.
I was expecting that. When you were in chat and you were like, oh, I didn't see that because I was a few minutes behind you. Yeah. And you said that, I was like, oh, Javon Evans is going to win. And then I saw like the ending was like, okay, let's go. Like it wasn't a full clean ending, but it was a heel ending.
It was the kind of screwy ending that's okay because it's different.
Yeah. And it's the way a heel would win, not clean, didn't get the DQ, and they make Ethan Page not look terrible in the win. And it was really good. Well done.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how far they go with the heel.
And for those that didn't watch it last night, Trick Williams did the knee to Javon Evans and then to Ethan Page, and Ethan Page fell right on top for the pin. That was great.
Yeah, I can't think of a faster debut to championship like that. I mean, that off the top of my, I'm sure there's some that I'm not remembering, but off the top of my head, like I can't remember any that were that freaking fast. That was crazy.
Yeah.
From being underused in AEW, like an afterthought in that brand, to being a top guy over in WWE, like, or NXT, but still same thing. Like that's something. That's impressive. Yeah. They must have high hopes for him.
Yeah. They did his debut very well over the last month.
Yeah.
I was really happy with it because I liked Ethan Page in AEW. They just, like you said, they didn't use him right. So him coming over here and getting used and getting that opportunity, it's like, all right, let's see him as a champion and see who he can turn into going forward.
And honestly, I think if they could play it right, I mean, I would, if it were me, I'd go ahead and shoot Trick up to the roster and put him with Carmelo or something like, because I want to see Ethan and Shawn feud. I don't want to see Trick feud with Ethan. Like I'm done with it. I want to see Ethan and Shawn feud because I think that would be a feud.
I want to see Javon Evans and Wes Lee feud. There's no title there, but them two together in the ring would be entertaining.
Oh, it'd be magic. Yeah.
I totally see why. If I was them, I wouldn't even offer Ricochet a contract after this. You got your next Ricochet right here.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Like 20 years old, 21 years old, 20 years old. I think he's 20.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
He was just turned it.
Tremendous. If he's that good at this age, I mean, future Hall of Famer. Like, if he keeps going. The potential for this kid is endless.
Yeah. 20 years old, and he's already at that level of athleticism that Ricochet is at 35.
Yeah.
Javon Evans has a 15-year head start at this point. If you look at the age difference, it's phenomenal. I'm so happy to see where this kid goes. I hope they don't, because we've seen in the past high flyers in WWE don't always last the longest. So I'm hoping they don't fumble this.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope hopefully they'll be decent.
They seem to protect these guys a lot now, though. They don't allow them to do much like they used to. Because we look at those two ladder matches we had on Saturday, and I like the second half of the women's, but I thought the men's was one of the worst ladder matches I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie. The beginning of the women's was rough.
Yeah.
Objectively not.
Yeah. They didn't let him really do anything outside the ring whatsoever, and then you could literally see people just waiting for their mark outside in the crouch position, and you just can't do that. Like it's you need to be more high class than that.
We in that match, you knew Drew was going to win, but the star of that match, for what it's worth, because the match was trash, was Andrade.
Yeah, Andrade did really well.
Yeah, he had a few good spots, a few good, chances, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So before we move on, there's still a lot more stuff we got to cover. We're gonna have to go a little bit longer today, I think. The pay-per-view ended with Ethan Page holding the title. cut to black, and then
Joe Hendry
to end the show.
Yep.
What? I mean,
that got me a little bit. I was expecting it. I walked once the credits came in the bottom corner of the screen, like always. I walked into the kitchen, and my friend was like, "No way!" I was like, "Wait, what?" He was like, "Come here," and he rewound it, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I didn't expect it. So I can't wait to see what they're doing with that.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying. Is a lot of people were, I read some of the blogs and whatnot this morning, and apparently like he's going to be a thing in the future. Like they definitely have a lot of stuff they want to do with him. So it's a nice segue to get him over. Like I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with him. He's somebody they're going to get on a contract with, though. Like no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Sean said that the reason he wants to work so much with or work with Joe Hendry so much is because Hendry's gotten over organically, and he's done that. He thinks outside the box in terms of promoting himself, like with the TikTok stuff and getting his entrance to #1 in the UK and all of these. I don't know if you guys have gone down the Joe Hendry rabbit hole yet, but that dude writes some of the best parody songs for wrestling entrances I've ever seen.
Yep.
It's great.
He did one for the First Class not too long ago with going after AJ Francis and Rich Swann there.
Yeah.
So what did I was going to ask this. I totally forgot. What would you guys, while we're on the subject of Heatwave, if you had to give a score to Heatwave and Money in the Bank, 1 out of 10, what would your score be for each show?
Heatwave, I'd have to go probably an 8.5. Money in the Bank, I'd have to go about a 4. I'd say actually probably about a 5. I've seen worse, but I've seen better. So
I think that's I had a 5 for Money in the Bank and an 8 for Heatwave. So yeah.
Yep. The women's Money in the Bank match, if that match would have flopped and not ended the way it did with all the, the action and whatnot, and it turned around into a banger, I'd give it about a 3.5. That women's match saved the pay-per-view for me.
Yep. Heatwave, I give a 9. Money in the Bank, I give a solid 3. Without the second half of that women's match, I give it a 0. I'm not gonna lie, I was very disappointed.
Wow.
So I would have probably turned it off if we didn't have to do this show.
What did y'all think of that after Money in the Bank? What did y'all think of that like post show, like the hybrid post show and press conference? Like that was pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty interesting. John Cena was hilarious though. He was like,
good segue there.
He was like, I can see Paul and CM Punk behind in the green room being so pissed. He's like, Punk's probably back there. Is like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean that's a good segue into the next thing. John Cena announced 2025 is his last year in WWE. Surprising stuff. Yeah, I mean, we knew it was coming. Like it's been rumored for a while, but I mean, what do we think he's going to get the record?
I'm hoping and this being part of the media for years with gaming and with with wrestling now, and I started getting upset at the questions being asked to him. No one asked until that very last question about him breaking the record. That would have been like that should have been the first
thought.
Yep. You're coming back. You're a 16-time champion. Do you want to go for the title? Do you want to break that record? And I'm hoping they give it to him at least for a day so he can break the record, or in his last pay-per-view in December. Let him win it and then drop the title the next night. I
was thinking it'd be cool to see him feud with the Wyatt Six, or at least have some interaction or something, because that Firefly Funhouse match was so cool. Like one of my favorite things. I mentioned that to my friend last night. I was like, you know what? It would be great to see him feud with the Wyatt Six because of his feud with Bray. Because the back of that red shirt is a door. There's a picture of a door on it.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I didn't even notice that.
Yep.
I personally,
No, he was on it. Like, I loved it.
I loved when what's her face kept saying one more question. He was like, "Nope, we're gonna go as long as I say." And then he kept going. All right, ask your question. Ask your question. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
I can't see them with the way WWE is right now and the way he operates. He's not a selfish guy at all. I can't see him taking the title right before he goes and then vacating it, because vacating is just, I don't know. I think it's below him. I don't think he'd do that.
You can't see him.
No, I can't.
I didn't even notice that, but
I don't. He's that one guy in the industry that is not out for himself. So as much as I want them to give him the title one more time so he can break the record, so we don't have to hear about Ric Flair every freaking time a champion, somebody gets to 10 or 12 shot titles, I don't think he would let them give it to him.
Yeah, and Ric Flair is an NWA guy, so surely WWE wants that record on a WWE guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if
it's going to be anyone, I think that since Cena probably doesn't want it because he doesn't see himself being there long enough to defend it and hold it for long or whatever, I think Randy's going to be the guy to break that record.
Yep, it's got to be one of those two.
If they give it to him, I think they'll give it to him probably around WrestleMania, if anything, and then from there on out they'll have him drop the belt before the run's over, because he said he's going till December, it sounds like. So
yeah, but that would be his last Mania, but he would be performing till December.
He would have to beat Cody for the title in order to be a 17-time champion.
But doesn't the World
Heavyweight Championship, he would be a one-time World Heavyweight
But even
champion.
though it doesn't share the lineage, hasn't he held the World Heavyweight Championship before?
Yeah, him and Punk were going at it for a while.
They were combined at that time. They were combined into the spinner
2010.
I didn't think it was still split at that time. Though I thought it was just the WWE Championship.
He's held the WWE Championship 13 times, the World Heavyweight Championship 3 times.
Okay, so they're just combining all WWE Heavyweight Championships. Okay, yeah. So then that makes sense if they gave him the Raw title, not Cody's, because that I could see them doing that, because it's not, because Cody's title is going to be wrapped up for the next year with Bloodline and Randy and whatnot. So
Gunther and I don't know.
Because we were supposed to get Gunther Lesnar last WrestleMania. We know why that didn't happen. So I could see them going that route of Gunther Cena, maybe.
No.
On the subject of controversy, though, I mean, when Triple H did his segment, how does that guy keep getting into these press conferences?
Oh God, I have no idea. That he asked Cena, he asked Paul. I'm like, come on, dude, really?
Yeah,
he's there at so many events. It's like, why do you still let this dude in?
Yeah.
Why, or even if you want to let him in to cover the event for his media outlet, don't give him the mic.
Don't call on him.
Yep. And all the questions are screened ahead of time, so I think they're just piping them in to make it look like they distance from him. That's all it is.
Unless he's telling them, oh, I'm going to ask this question or I'm going to ask that question. And then when he actually gets the mic to ask it live, he flips the script.
They would have taken his press credential away already. They're not going to let that happen twice. I couldn't see that.
I did like that when John Cena was doing his conference, a lot of people, like, as soon as he announced his retirement, he said that I'm announcing my retirement from WWE, but he didn't say from professional wrestling. So a lot of people thought that meant that John Cena could end up in AEW or something. But then during the press conference, he said, I'm WWE, I'm not going anywhere else, and this is where I'm retiring.
Yep, he's like, I'm going to retire from in-ring work. So, but going back to his feuds, I'm thinking, and this is just fantasy booking here, CM Punk and Drew feud. CM Punk ends up with the title.
Okay, I like it.
Punk and Cena at WrestleMania.
I like it. You'd have to have a lot of fast turnarounds, though. But yeah, I like it.
Well, we still have, 9 months before WrestleMania? So you could end the CM Punk and Drew feud by then and have CM Punk with the title.
My guess is they'll do CM Punk and Seth Rollins, though, at Mania, seeing that was the original one for this year, and seeing that they had that spot on Saturday, still renewing that a little bit.
I think they, and Paul said it in his press conference, Cena can pretty much call his shots.
Yeah.
He can say when he wants to go in the freaking, it's up to him when he wants to go in the Hall of Fame. He wants to, he can do what he wants. If he says, hey, I would love to have that last match with Punk because of our history, they would do it. No question asked.
Yeah. I mean, SummerSlam would be cool.
Even if it wasn't at Mania, because
it's 2 nights next year, right?
Yep. If Punk somehow wins the title at WrestleMania against Rollins, I don't know how that would play out from here.
Somehow.
But But like Triple H said in the documentary, you put in the destination and the story writes itself to get there. So, we could see that.
I know we didn't get to talk about it on the last show, but on the subject of that documentary, a lot of people online I've been reading have been kind of negative about it and saying that it was really just like a way to make The Rock not look like a bad guy. Did y'all get that impression from it?
Yep.
I didn't really. I thought personally, I think it's that whole "we want Cody" thing. I think it started off as a block campaign. And probably they told certain people to tweet it out to see how it caught fire amongst the WWE universe to see if they really wanted it. So, and I wish they would have said that we wanted to test the waters, because they did have the idea in place already, and I wasn't too thrilled that they didn't say that.
I knew it was forced when The Rock was on, when they were talking to The Rock and had him on, and he was like, when I saw that the fans wanted Cody, he was like, I made the decision to, change the script. It's like, no, you didn't. no, you didn't.
Yeah, like you may be on the board, you don't run creative. Like I think it kind of inflates a lot of his responsibilities. I think it came down from the fans, and that was that. I mean, I still think we're gonna get Rock and Roman at some point. I think that's inevitable, but yeah, I definitely think it was a little bit inflated.
WrestleMania next year, 41 is going to be Rock and Roman. There's no other way around it. We've been wanting it for so long.
Yeah. So another piece of news, I don't know if you guys saw this or not. We've talked about this before about women's mid-card titles, but there's starting to be some more buzz about it.
That AI image of the U.S. title is so cringe.
Yeah, I know. But we've talked about this before about a women's US and a women's IC title. But I mean, there's more buzz about it now. A lot more people are reporting on it. So I think it'd be cool if we get that. I've been saying
supposedly someone said that WWE has reached out to start getting have the titles being made.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know how it'll be interesting to see how they debut those. IC title's always white to me though. Like I always think of the IC title as a white strap. So I would buy that one. I don't own the black IC title, but I'd buy that white one. That thing looks good.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're even putting these out there. Look at how badly the tag team belts have fallen on their face, and you have Bayley on one side where you can't even write a story around your women's champion. You need to have more meaningful storylines around the women's division before you integrate these titles. And then look at what we did with the men's tag team titles, splitting them up. We had the 2 title changes within a week and a half of each other because there's no direction on them. There's no really good division there on the main roster. Like the best women's division is down at NXT, and they already have a mid-card title. There's absolutely no need for these.
With the men's titles, though, I think with the Bloodline wanting gold, and now that they're going to have the 2 sides of the Bloodline, I'm wondering if the Tongas are going to feud for them.
Yeah, I would suspect so.
With the women's titles, I completely agree. It's like there's not enough meat in that division yet to hold multiple storylines because they don't have any good storylines going on right now.
I mean, the main one I can think of is that Zelina Vega needs a title. So she's one I would definitely put one of these on. Outside of that, I'm sure I could look over the roster and find some more that could deserve them. I mean, Chelsea, maybe Lyra, Zoe Stark. I mean, some of those mid-card talents I think would be good for stuff like this. So I think the women just need more presence in the show. I think that's the main thing. There's not as much women-centric storylines. Most of the storylines that involve women are intertwined with men in like Judgment Day or LWO or whatever, but there needs to be more like feuds between the women without the other factions. And I think that's what would help these.
The next one's the story that's going to start is Nia Jax and Tiffany after SummerSlam. That's the next story I see coming, but I don't see that being a long-term booking.
Yeah.
So
maybe I honestly think they could still do another one of those Evolution pay-per-views with women. NXT, SmackDown, and Raw could easily run a multi-hour program.
Absolutely.
They could.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. I actually thought about that this week. I think they should have a whole show dedicated to the women's division, just a whole show once a week to it. And that's the other thing too. When we have 5-match PLEs, why are we putting more titles out there when we're having fewer matches on the PLEs? It just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah.
I
know they felt so short this weekend.
Do what?
They felt like they ended too early this weekend. It was weird.
Yeah. I think the mid-card titles should be more focused on the TV shows rather than the PLEs anyway.
Mm.
Have those titles, change hands or be defended, so that way it gives more prestige to the heavyweight titles to be defended on PLEs.
Yeah, because you think it back to WCW was like the cruiserweight title and the TV title, like they changed all the time. Just it was something that kept TV interesting.
Yep.
So that's a good way they could go with these. Yeah, but the pay-per-views are feeling, I don't know, it feels shorter. Like if you're going to run a 2-hour pre-show, like, I don't know, it just felt like it wasn't very balanced. Like I was sitting there watching that 2-hour pre-show and towards the end of it, I was like, it's still going? Because they were recapping stuff from the first hour of the pre-show. I'm like,
come on. All right. It feels like so long ago. We have to recap.
Yeah, that Seth interview they played like a few times, and I'm just like, come on, guys. This ain't it.
Yep.
So Raw tonight
before WrestleManias, though, back in the day, they'd have like 12. Literally, the pre-show would start at like noon, and they would just play the same stuff over and over.
I know Triple H was talking about that at the end of the press conference about how there had been those like 7-hour pay-per-views, and he was like, "I've been on the end of those things."
Yeah, he's like, it feels like the end of a 7-hour pay-per-view where you just wanted to end. I'm like, nice jab at AEW there, bruh.
Yeah. So what do y'all think about Raw tonight? Looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Mixed tag match. We haven't seen one of those in a while.
What is it?
Mixed tag match.
Oh, I know. We really haven't seen one of those in a while. So
Liv and Dom working together, like, okay. I'm interested.
I wonder where she tags them.
Oh,
snap. I'm really interested to see what happens between Damian and Finn tonight, because Finn actually listened to Damian and didn't get involved. And if you watched Money in the Bank, where they were in the clubhouse and Drew said, "This is my match," and the look that Drew gave him and said, "All right," he's like, "We'll stay out of it," pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see what happens tonight there.
Yeah, and if Seth shows up and if they do anything with that, like what's next for him, I'm curious to see if they address, the finish of the match, where they go with that. If Drew honors his suspension.
Wondering if Drew's going to honor his suspension for a week or two to let the CM Punk Seth Rollins side of that love triangle build.
Yeah.
When Finn walked out and Finn said, "Whatever you say, boss." Yep. That's what I'm waiting for tonight.
One angle that I heard that they could play too on this is that Finn paid the ref off.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm surprised they didn't do that turn at Money in the Bank, because I thought we could have our SummerSlam card shape up to be Cody versus Randy, Solo versus Roman, Finn versus Priest, Seth versus Gunther, Nia Jax versus Bailey, just to start off, Austin Theory versus Waller. We could have had that card, but seeing Roman didn't come back, seeing we didn't have the heel turn from Finn or Randy, it's just not really opening up those doors, and I don't think we're going to get that heel turn from Finn until SummerSlam, where he maybe costs him the title against Gunther.
Interesting question I have for you guys, because you brought up Austin Theory. I read this on Twitter and I thought it was really interesting. Do you guys think Ethan Page is a better Austin Theory, or what Austin Theory should have been?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Similar, definitely have a lot of similarities between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you think about Austin Theory turning face? Do you think that's going to be something that finally gets him over?
No.
No.
Chance no.
Nope. Nope.
I'm so against it. So against the Austin Theory babyface. I want nothing to do with it, especially when the company needs top heels right now. Not interested.
Yeah, this company is definitely not top heel heavy anymore. Like, seems like everybody's a face now. Like, there's no good heels anymore.
Everybody wants to be loved.
Yeah. Like, no good heels. They need a monstrous heel. I felt like that's what they wanted Solo to be, but he's kind of just like a joke.
He's got good heat, though.
Did you see at the press conference in the very, very beginning, they asked him something, and he was like, I only have 2 words. I only have one thing to say, or something like that. He's like, acknowledge me. I'm like, ain't nobody going to acknowledge you, Solo Sikoa.
Yeah. We're acknowledging cosplay Roman now?
I'll acknowledge Jacob Fatu, but not you, bro.
Yeah.
You aren't the one.
Nope. Did you notice they changed the hand sign though? From this to this?
Yep. When is any word on Jimmy's injury or when he's coming back? I don't know if we've heard anything lately.
He come back last week, I heard.
Yeah, I'm ready to see what's going on with him. Like, they got to get this thing going. Even if they're not going to put him in matches, they can bring him back now and at least have him work TV.
What was his injury? Because I know it would probably happen when he fell off the ramp at Mania, but was it a rib or what was it?
I don't remember if it was disclosed or not. I'm not sure.
I thought it was his shoulder.
Yeah, I could see that with the way he fell.
He said he's expected to be out for 6 months. When was his injury? Mania, right?
Yeah. April. So
October,
November.
November.
Or actually, no, October. I'm sorry.
October. Okay, yeah. Oh, I forgot about this one too. I'm reading through my notes. Michael Cole saying, "Holy shit!"
Vic Joseph almost did it last night too.
He did. He almost slipped too.
I was saying that, talking to a friend of mine. I was like, I can't wait for them to be on Netflix, and because I can't wait to hear Michael Cole or Pat McAfee be the first one to drop the F-bomb while commentating.
It'll be Pat McAfee.
Oh, that's what I said. I was like, yep.
What do they do with with Jay from here? Can't capture a title, can't capture Money in the Bank. Like, just throw him and Jimmy back together and just call it a day. Because I don't really know what else they can do with him.
They got to give him a mid-card title, personally, I think. And I think we might see him get attacked by Wyatt Six tonight, too, seeing him versus Gable.
I like that. I saw that video on Facebook. I finally found that clip of him hiding under the ring.
Yeah.
He's like,
I think he mentioned it on the kickoff show or the press conference, one of the two of them also.
That was hilarious. Awesome. And then he popped out. He's like, we good? They gone?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, everyone's saying that Jimmy Uso's injury is an undisclosed injury. They wouldn't say.
Mm-hmm. So, it could be anything then. Yeah, I'm curious when they bring him back. I feel like it's time, though. Because he doesn't have to wrestle, but they can at least have him showing up and, like, talking or something for now. And they can play around with it and be careful, but I think it's time. I was really hoping Jacob Fatu was going to debut on Raw with Jay and Jimmy. I'm still surprised he showed up on SmackDown. Like, I don't know. I just felt like maybe they needed someone more dominant on that faction side. If they're going to have Roman on the other side, they kind of need to balance it out, I guess. But I don't know. I was really hoping he was going to be with the Usos. That was a bummer to me.
Roman could be bringing Jimmy and Paul back with them at SummerSlam too. They might be waiting for that.
Yeah. Like they all walk out together. Like, okay, the real bloodline is here now.
Yeah.
One thing I saw online that I like too, I forget who personally said it, but they said basically that Paul walks out and call Roman Reigns on the phone, and then that's when his music hits during the Cody solo match.
Man, that pop when he comes back is going to be nuts. Like the crowd were chanting, "We want Roman!" like all freaking weekend. So it's going to be intense when he comes back. Like I'm ready for it. I'm excited to see what they do with it. I just mainly because that bloodline story needs something. It's so boring right now. I don't care about it at all. I mean, what do they do next? Friday on SmackDown, they went through like the people they've been feuding with. Like, what do they do now? I mean, really?
Yeah, on both Raw and SmackDown, it was they advertised, the bloodline, and then it's like, this is what happened last week.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah. So, like, what do they do now? I mean, I can't think of anything. They show up and they're like, "We won. We're bloodline. We're dominant." But like, what now? I mean,
it'll just be them going back and forth with Cody until Mania, I'm sure.
Oh, snap. I don't know if you guys saw 2 hours ago on Twitter, Pat McAfee posted, in response to Adam Pearce fining and suspending Drew. He said, let's not set any wild precedents here, Mr. Pierce, CEO. And then Adam Pearce responded with, would you also like to make a contribution to the being an ass online fine bucket? Let me know.
Oh my gosh.
I think we're going to see a GM or a Adam Pearce turn.
Give him a match against Drew. That's what I was hoping last night when I saw Drew, or Saturday when I saw Drew swing at him. I was like, put him in the ring with Scrap Daddy.
Yep. Let Adam Pearce have one more match.
Oh, another thing. Wade Barrett not wanting to answer that question in the post show. Like that was a thing. That was interesting.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want to get myself in trouble, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm like, all right, cool.
And they asked him again. He's like, look, I'm not talking about it. Like he was firm. That was interesting. Felt weird.
Yeah, it really did.
So maybe there's some storyline there. I like it, but I think the Drew and CM Punk thing needs to have some more to it. At this point, there's some days where I'm getting older, but there's some days that I forget why they're even feuding. So I definitely think a lot of people are probably going to get fatigued with that storyline soon. So hopefully they'll do something with it and can kind of wrap that one up. But I like what you said. Freeing CM Punk up for John Cena. I think that's going to be a beautiful thing. That'll feed families.
Yep.
Given he stays healthy.
Yeah. Given he doesn't blow his shoulder again.
Yeah.
I know. And the interesting thing, the AJ Lee mentioned, I was curious about what you guys thought about that as well. If you think we'll see her back at some point.
Sounds like a production company is pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CM Punk didn't even know if you should talk about it.
I didn't even know she was doing stuff. Like, I guess I don't really follow people that closely after they leave the company that I'm up on what they're doing in their personal lives, but that sounds pretty promising. She sounds busy.
Yeah.
And Larry, I mean, surely Larry's going to show up on TV at some point.
If he ever gets healthy enough, because he hasn't been doing too good, I guess, lately.
It sucks.
Poor Larry. Poor little guy.
Yeah.
So we got
the week that Drew attacked him and took the bracelet, they had brought Larry in to the vet for shots.
Oh,
getting old.
God forbid Larry dies. He could play an angle that Drew killed him.
Oh, snap. And then he feeds him to CM Punk, and we go back with the old big boss man angle.
Oh, jeez.
Gosh.
I will still never get over that freaking angle back in the day.
What about I know we talked about Raw. So on NXT Tuesday versus Ariana Grace.
There you are.
OC versus OTM and Gallus versus Tyson and Tyreek. So NXT looks like it's going to be good this week too.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to have and we've talked about it ad nauseum, but I wonder if they're going to bring back or if they're going to bring out Joe Hendry this week.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious what they'll do with it. You got to quit saying his name. He's going to keep appearing.
Oh, that's classic. Love it. But yeah, I don't know.
It's really not hard to use these TNA guys because when they film Impact, they film like 2 or 3 week episodes just in one date. They barely work at all. So, like on the actual television stuff, I don't know what they do outside for training. Don't get me wrong, but they can easily use them as much as they want if the partnership's strong enough. I think
they really need to give NXT a second show or let them run an extra hour. I mean, NXT is loaded as it is. Like, there's still so much they could do.
Or use the whole hour on Level Up.
Yeah, without recaps. Yeah, that would be great.
I wish they would give NXT an extra hour only because I think some of these younger guys need to hone in their mic skills and it would give them time for more promos.
Yeah, I think so.
If you want to build them up for main roster live events, they need to do that.
I mean, I could see if we're losing one show to streaming, Raw, SmackDown's going to be on USA, NXT is going to be over on CW. Like, I could easily see NXT getting a secondary show. It's a strong enough brand that I think it could get a secondary show like a Rampage or something like that. I think they could support it. Or just expand Level Up on Peacock to an extra like couple hours and let it be talent and not just recaps of Raw and other stuff. I think they could easily do it.
Same thing with main event. You could do more matches on there instead of just 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you add up all the dark matches and whatnot that happens on at live show tapings. Like, you could easily do a 2-hour main event. It wouldn't be that challenging at all. But I would love to see more NXT. I mean, they're probably, I still think as strong or some weeks stronger than the main roster. So I think it would be a much better thing for them. And if they were running a streaming show, that would get more Peacock subscribers. I still think WWE should do that in general, like have a Peacock only show. If they want to drive subscribers, that's one way to do it.
They might do that with Netflix because I believe everything's moving off Peacock after January.
Yeah, didn't they say something on at the press conference and that the PLEs would be on Netflix too?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought I heard them say something about that at the press conference. I wasn't sure if he just misspoke or something, but it sounded like Triple H said something about like everything's going to be on Netflix. So it sounded like that was going to be the case. So, but I don't think the Peacock deal is over for a while. 26, I think.
The Peacock deal's just here in the United States too, so it could be on Netflix still, the PLEs and everything else in the other countries, just not here in the US, and we still have Peacock here.
WWE's deal with Peacock lasts until 2026, which covers PLEs and all legacy content.
Yeah, Netflix is going to do PLEs internationally. In the US, it's going to be on Peacock still.
Okay. But after that, yeah, I mean, if they're already doing it, that'd be great. And maybe less filler content.
We are going to get commercials, though, on Netflix. I've been hearing for Raw, unfortunately.
Unless you have premium Netflix.
I am paying
for because it's live.
No, they said during when they go to commercial breaks for non-premium members, they're going to do backstage segments that they normally use for WWE social media exclusive stuff. So they're going to actually show those live, and then non-premium members get commercials.
So it'll be like the same thing that they do for the PLEs now, pretty much, correct?
Yeah. Because they're like, for those Peacock Premium or Peacock Plus members, you're going to see blah, 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 everyone else commercial. Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be the same thing. So it'll definitely be worth the money. Because I know a lot of people complain about it now. And like, you notice it, like Raw is it's so much freaking commercials. Like it's got to be like half the show. It's awful.
It was awful.
You can't all
get the filler segments on Monday.
There's also rumors that Raw's going to go to 2 hours and SmackDown is going to go to 3.
I had read that. Yeah.
I hope not.
SmackDown is not interesting enough as a 2-hour show as it is. So
yeah. Everyone's been telling Raw to go to 2 hours for years and keep everything 2 hours. Why would you make the most boring show 3?
Yeah. Unless they're going to try to drastically shift it up when they move to USA and just give them better storylines and stuff like that. Like, I don't want 3-hour SmackDown. It'll be like how Raw used to drag on and how you used to not want to watch it live because you couldn't skip through all the boring crap. Like, now you won't have a choice. So, yeah, I guess that's gone a little bit over. You guys have anything before we wrap up?
No.
Yeah, very curious to see what happens this week. It's about
yeah. So we're going into a new week. It looks like coming off a pay-per-view. Hopefully, it won't be too much of a downtime. Main thing I'm hoping is just to see what happens with the Wyatts tonight. It's kind of the main thing I'm looking forward to. So I think it'll be a pretty good week. So yeah, that's all for us. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, joining us on this Monday morning, back to our regular schedule. Thanks to all the viewers who commented, and of course our audio audience, which is most of the people that tune in for this podcast. Thanks for listening, and that'll be all for us, and we'll see you next time.